Brendan Berg and the Bethlehem Steel return home to Goodman Stadium here on the campus of Lehigh University to take on Toronto FC2 in an Eastern Conference clash. Bethlehem coming off a dramatic 2-1 victory over another Canadian side, Ottawa FC, just a week ago, thanks to Santi Moar in the 81st minute. Tyler Terrence along with Bruce Silverman. And Bruce, a great match on tap here. 3 points for Bethlehem tonight, and they would move into 6th place.
Yeah, and that would be a great situation for them. They've got some games in hand. They have some firepower, too, but a lot of goals sitting on the bench for Bethlehem tonight. Actually, goals sitting on both benches tonight. Telfer from that wing can really be effective, not only as a goal scorer, but also moving that ball into the center and taking some rips on net.
Telfer has been one of the main distributors for this Toronto FC2 team. They only have 13 goals on the season, but he's put in 1 as well as assisted on 2. And on the other side for Bethlehem, a rising star who had a superb goal against Ottawa last week, Chris Nanko.
Yeah, he's got 3 goals on the season. A complete opposite. He's only 5'6" and 145, so he's kind of like Mighty Mouse in that respect. But definitely an opportunity to get on the board against this TFC2 club.
And now we'll take a look at the starting lineups brought to you by Lehigh Valley Health Network. And as you mentioned earlier, Bruce, a lot of goals sitting on the bench for Jason Bent's side.
Yeah, for me, that's really the startling part of this. 13 goals on the season, but 8 of them are in uniform, but not starting tonight. That leaves only 5 on the pitch. For a team that doesn't score a lot, they're going to need to make their own way if they want to have any chance at any points tonight.
And on the other side for Brendan Burke, they have some goals sitting on the bench as well, but they also have a lot of talent on the pitch, Cory Burke and Chris Nanko in particular.
Yeah, they got 14 goals on the bench, but in terms of the scoring power, it's here, especially with the guy that we just talked about, Nanko. He can really anchor the attack tonight and get the ball in up front to Burke to do some damage. And then obviously when they go to their bench, they got firepower there too.
Cory Burke will be the captain of Brendan Burke's side tonight for the first time in his young career. Bethlehem Steel looking to take down a Canadian side for the second time in 2 weeks. TFC2 and Bethlehem coming your way when we come back.
You've lived with it for too long. That recurring joint or muscle pain that makes everyday tasks a strain and repetitive movement almost impossible. Why put it off? The sooner you seek treatment, the more options you'll have. The faster you'll be back in full stride. The latest non-surgical solutions. The region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
Golf season has arrived. The Clubhouse Grill and Bethlehem Golf Club have teamed up with Service Electric TV for a chance to win a day at the golf course and lunch at the Clubhouse Grill. Go to our sectv.com website, click on the link, and like us on Facebook. You'll be entered to win a golf foursome plus carts and a $100 gift card to enjoy at the Clubhouse Grill afterwards. This promotion runs through August 15th, so like us and enter today. Service Electric, the Clubhouse Grill, and Bethlehem Golf Club, teaming up to bring you the best summer ever.
Sara Lee Artisano. It's no ordinary bread. It's born from the question, what's next for sliced bread? And we quickly found the answer was an everyday artisan-style bread with wholesome, rich ingredients, as well as the soft texture you love, cut thick with a dash of flour dusting. Taste firsthand how Artisano turns even the simplest meals you make mouth-wateringly memorable. Sara Lee Artisano Bakery Bread. Make the routine remarkable.
To the races. And Philadelphia have the lead. There it is. Oh, what a beauty. Just 2 minutes on the board and a perfect start for the Union.
For tickets, visit PhiladelphiaUnion.com.
Moments away from kickoff here at Goodman Stadium on the campus of Lehigh University. Bethlehem Steel FC playing host to Toronto FC2. Tyler Terrence along with Bruce Silverman. And now we'll take a look at some of the men in charge of these two sides. Jason Bent, a Canadian national team star back in his day, 3rd season with TFC2. And for Bethlehem, The youngster Brendan Burke is 34 years of age, was in charge of Reading United as well as a couple of academy teams with the Philadelphia Union, now in charge of this USL side as we are almost ready for kickoff here in Bethlehem in the Lehigh Valley, and we are underway between Bethlehem Steel and Toronto FC2. Bethlehem with 3 points tonight would move into 6th place. Toronto FC2, Bruce, looking to build off of a couple very solid results, a 1-0 win against Charleston and a draw against Charlotte Independence. Not many teams in the league can say that they've done that.
No, and when you look at how you're going to go through a season and build, you want to build on successes, and when you come into a game like this, you have an opportunity to continue that. And it'll be interesting how this game starts to unfold. Bethlehem needs points. They're in a playoff position. They want to improve their scenario. And for Toronto, it's an opportunity to continue to get better as the season progresses.
Bethlehem with a nice move early on as Marcus Epps was unable to wrap his foot around it, and it will be a goal kick and the first touch of the night for Angelo Cavaluso, the goalkeeper who has split time with Mark Pace this season. Cavaluso, 11 appearances, 5 clean sheets on this season. And there's been a lot of turnover, I guess, for this Toronto FC2 team. We've talked about it a lot before, Bruce, but obviously with that affiliation they have with the MLS players bumping up, bumping down. And this TFC2 team has yet to find their consistency, their groove just yet.
Well, and it's hard to do that when you have players that are coming and going. It's hard to know who's in the locker room. And soccer is a game that's about knowing the tendencies of your teammates. And if you don't know where a teammate likes a ball, on the shoulder, to the left, to the right, if you don't know those tendencies, you know, the average fan might not see the difference, but the players certainly know the difference. They're expecting a ball in one place and ends up in another. That split second of having to change the ball to a favorite foot or to a certain direction is the difference between scoring a goal and not even getting a shot off.
Well, there certainly is a team that struggled to score goals this season so far. 13 goals to their name. 8 of them tonight are on the bench, and they are available, but just not in the starting 11. They did have that midweek match against Charlotte, again, a 2-2 draw in which Hamilton scored both goals. The second one in the 92nd minute was absolutely phenomenal to equalize and to get Toronto a much-deserved point against the best team in the Eastern Conference at the moment. And on the other side for Bethlehem, they were on that 8-match unbeaten streak. It was snapped by Richmond, and then they got absolutely walloped by Charlotte 4-0, and that was a real wake-up call for Brendan Burke and his side. As Brendan Burke said, it was the most a team that he's coached has ever been picked apart, as Epps is getting to the area looking for Nanko, and it goes across everybody. And Toronto will be able to come out the other end, but Bethlehem came back with a 2-1 win against Ottawa, and that's the best response possible after getting picked apart like that in a 4-0 defeat, is to come back and get 3 points at no matter what cost the next game.
You talked about it. It's a gut check moment. When you go up against a team that's number 1 on the table and they pound you, it's sometimes you fall apart and your season's basically over, or you can regroup and say, we're better than this, and then put together some wins. So far in this match, I like what Bethlehem is doing, moving into that final third. The services haven't quite been there yet, but if you say in the first 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes of a match, you can carry the ball down into the final third as easily as they are against this Toronto defense. Once the services are on track, the goals are just going to start to happen. And this game could get out of hand for Toronto very, very easily if they don't find a way to possess the ball and at least try to disrupt what Bethlehem is trying to do from the middle of the pitch to that final third.
Well, this TFC2 team playing a 3-back system tonight, and it's always interesting to see how the players on the field respond to playing 3 in the back, as this one comes out wide for Jordan McCrary. And TFC2 obviously at the moment, Bruce, struggling with that 3-back system, and it's a lot of pressure on the wingers to be able to track back on that weak side because they act as that 4th defender when the ball's not on their side.
Yeah, it can be helpful to run that 3-4-3 because you can bring those wingers back, almost be a 5-man back line. But if they don't track back fast enough, or if they hang out too far back, it disrupts what you can do offensively. That's obviously the formation that Toronto wants to run and that Bent wants to run. But it'll be interesting to see if they start to make subtle changes as the game progresses, because right now Bethlehem is having their way down the pitch, at least early on. Toronto throw.
Sean Hundle was fighting for it on the near side. He's been one of the bright spots, 17 years old out of Brampton, Ontario. He's one of the players who is part of an attack that at times can look stagnant, but recently it's looked a bit more potent with that 1-0 victory against Charleston and a 2-2 draw against Charlotte as Hundle sends it across, and it looked like it might have taken a deflection. It did, and head referee Kevin Broadley points to the corner. It will be the first corner of the evening, and it will be for Toronto.
But I like the idea of Hundle. He's on his favorite foot. He's got an angle, not the greatest angle in the world, especially with a defender in front, but why not take your chances? A deflection, a rebound, and all of a sudden it's a 1-0 game. If Toronto can score first in this match or keep Bethlehem off the board for a long time, I would say it might tip in their favor.
Corner being whipped in by Brian James towards the near post, and McGuire comes off his line and able to collect. Young Jake McGuire getting the start tonight after Tomas Romero did his job up in Canada against Ottawa. Got a 2-1 win. Thanks to Santi Moraro's game-winning goal in the 81st minute. Chris Nanko got the equalizer early in the second half, and McGuire getting the start tonight, 22-year-old out of Pomona, California.
On that corner, if you're going to drive the ball, you've got to have somebody running towards it to drive it home. There really wasn't anything like that going on that first corner of the match for Toronto.
Roberts steps forward and wins a header. TFC2 with a little bit of applied pressure here as this one comes over for Sean Hundle on the near side. Now slipped across, and McGuire had to be quick off of his line as there were a couple of TFC2 players looking to get on the end of that one.
Nice ball movement by Toronto to push forward, and when you require McGuire to come off his line that quickly, that's something they can go back to. That could be a recipe for success. They have to find the opportunities to be able to do that. But first major foul of the match.
And Cory Burke does need to be careful here, not only for the safety of Jordan McCrary, but also the fact that Burke is one yellow card away from accumulation and then being forced to miss the next game, which would be against Charlotte this Wednesday on ESPN3, a huge matchup. And you take another look there as Burke was just a little late to the party. Nothing too sinister in it, but a late foul nonetheless.
But there's no reason for that. You know, it wasn't like McCrary was going to take off with the ball. I mean, it was a play that he really didn't need to take in any way. And for Burke, like you said, needs to be careful sitting on the verge of missing a game. That's just it's a silly foul.
Kevin Broadley opting not to go to the pocket just yet, as we haven't even reached the 10-minute mark. So well done from the referee, probably just giving Cory Burke one more opportunity before he goes in the book. So the Jamaican, who got a call up for the Jamaican national team in the 2017 Gold Cup and has looked very solid, is certainly somebody that they're going to need against Charlotte to try to exact revenge after that 4-0 loss a couple weeks ago, in which Lewis Hilton had a brace, Alex Martinez and Jorge Herrera were the goal scorers in that 4-0 result. Burke trying to turn the defender here, got caught on the ground as Derek Jones trying to keep it in the area. Handball on Bethlehem, and it'll go the other way.
Not the best trip down the pitch for Bethlehem. Not as fluid as they had been on previous trips. You know, you go back to that foul. Broadley could have easily have gone to the pocket on that. And I don't have a problem with a referee going to the pocket early in a match. It sets the tone that he's not going to tolerate anything. And that way the game stays a little bit cleaner. It's when referees don't go to the pocket early on something that was definitely card-worthy that games can start to get out of control. And when they get out of control, the beautiful game becomes ugly.
Well, for the moment, Cory Burke remains cardless, and he is available for Charlotte on Wednesday as TFC2 working their way up the field. McCrary finding Brian James. James once more. Bethlehem doing a good job defensively. Very organized in the middle of the park as Hundle is dispossessed.
Bethlehem very organized, very disciplined in the way that they're playing defense, and here on the counter an opportunity. Maybe Nanko wants to be a little bit more patient, get a better rip on the ball. You're sitting about 20 plus out. There's no reason. If you're going to take a rip, you better make sure that you're taking a really solid strike on it, and that didn't have a lot of pace.
Now Akeem Andrews tripped up, and it is going to be a dangerous free kick opportunity. Kevin Brodley called a foul against Bethlehem, and Bethlehem need to be careful here. Talking to Brendan Burke earlier in the week, and he was concerned with TFC2's ability to counter, and when Bethlehem want to throw numbers forward because they are probably going to be on the ball most of the time, this Toronto FC2 team, a young TFC2 team, is more than capable and has the technical capability to hit them on the counter, and this is exactly what Brendan Burke was wary of.
So now you got Brian James, who's going to be on the ball. Good distance to make a play, a couple different opportunities and options with that right foot. He can go right at it, or he can play the ball into the box, and he's going to go right at it, goes into the wall.
Brian James went for power but wasn't able to get it over the wall, and now Bethlehem looking to counter on the other end. Alston Trusty, he'll put a foot on it, and over to Matt Real, the 18-year-old committed to go play college ball at Wake Forest in just about a few weeks' time.
Yeah, Trusty had an opportunity to really run on that counter, actually outran the ball and had to slow down and pick it back up. Bethlehem still on the ball, nice ball movement. Those long distance passes into traffic aren't going to help, especially when you get into the final third.
Long ball sent ahead for Andrews. Jones doesn't exactly get it right, but Roberts coolly back to McGuire with his noggin, and McGuire able to collect.
So Bethlehem just needs to be more patient. They know that and there's a perfect example of it. These long distance passes aren't working. They're not solid, they're not crisp, and when they're not to a guy wearing the same kit as you, it's a problem. For Toronto, they just need, Toronto's basically taking what Bethlehem is giving them, and I would like to see them a little bit more aggressive, put Bethlehem on their heels and keep them a little bit more honest. Foot race into the corner.
It was a good sliding challenge from Aaron Jones as he was able to dispossess Ryan Telfer, our featured player for TFC2, and that is great defending from number 19.
Yeah, outstanding effort, good timing on that, because if you don't time it perfectly, it's a card and it's a possible injury to your opponent as well.
Aaron Jones has been one of the mainstays on this Bethlehem back line with all of the movement that they've had in their lineup. Aaron Jones has remained a constant. 23-year-old had a great Yarmouth as Bethlehem looking to hit them on the counter once more, but like you said, Bruce, just a little impatient, a little anxious moving forward.
Yeah, Toronto, when they have the opportunities, need to take advantage of it, but it all started because of an errant pass by Bethlehem, and now Bethlehem building up again.
Epps leaving it off for Cory Burke, but tracking back well was Malik Johnson with Epps once more.
Yeah, Bethlehem needing to be a little bit crisper right now. That pass was a little late, and if you're going to foul, don't do it. Trip it, don't do it right in front of the referee right like that. But for Toronto, not for Toronto, for Bethlehem, what concerns me is their long distance passes are not working, and even the short ones aren't working. They're either not putting enough pace on the ball or putting it in the right spot. And when you're in the final third, you don't want to waste opportunities. The idea for any club is to get into the final third and work the ball to at least an opportunity to put it on frame, make the goalkeeper work. But when you get down to that final third and you can't get a shot off because the passes aren't getting to the open man, it's a problem.
Foul called against TFC2 as Bethlehem will reclaim possession, send forward looking for the Jamaican striker Cory Burke, but doing well is Baksavic. Hugh Roberts up for the header, former George Mason man, has a black belt in karate as well as initially recruited for basketball and elected to play soccer.
slightly different game, basketball and football. Another opportunity here.
Epps driving towards the byline, but good defensive play on the outside from Telfer. However, it will be the first corner of the evening for Bethlehem.
Bethlehem with that build-up, and it was a smart play. There was only two things that were going to happen with that. Either they were going to get a corner out of it, or they were going to be able to get a shot on goal. The corner they'll take, and Nanko will come over and take this one. And again, it's Toronto drove the ball, and nobody was driving towards it to try to put it on net. I would suspect on this one, Bethlehem is going to go high and look to try to net it with the head.
Former Syracuse man Chris Nanko on top of the corner. Floated towards the back post. Trusty is waiting for it. Tried to send it in, but it took a deflection initially. And it was actually Icum Andrews who was looking to counter, and now the whole TFC squad is on the loose here.
Yeah, it was a good ball by Nanko, but just the execution on the other end wasn't very good. But Toronto with a nice flick and a wasted opportunity there. If you're going to send it forward, make sure that somebody's running on the ball. Otherwise, you've wasted your trip down. And when you're Toronto, you can't afford wasted opportunities in the final third. Bethlehem, because of the talent, because of the experience, they can afford to have a couple of wasted trips down. But when you've only scored 13 goals on the season, you want to make every trip down count.
Well, especially considering the fact that they had a midweek game in which they drew Charlotte Independence, and that they had to fight till the last minute in order to get that point. And that's probably why we see a number of players on the bench just trying to manage minutes and keep players healthy as well as fresh. And like you said, Bruce, it's not a team that on the road can afford to sort of just waste possessions. It's only a finite amount of chances in the final third, and sometimes teams don't really pay attention to that aspect and sort of just, take a swipe at it wherever they feel necessary. And right now we're seeing that a little bit from both teams, as both have been a little impatient. And there you see Hugh Roberts looking to take route one, and it'll be a goal kick for TFC2.
Toronto doesn't have the experience. They're a much younger team. You take a look at the bench, and you wonder what exactly this game is going to look like from the 61st minute on, because that's when we're going to start seeing the flurry of substitutions. You're going to see some of the goal scorers from both of these teams start to enter, getting some work, but with fresh legs. So for Toronto, if they can keep this game in check through 60 minutes, they have a good chance of coming out with points. If Bethlehem can get at least a goal before that 60th minute, before the substitutions, I would say they have a better than average chance of getting out of here with not just 1 point, but 3.
Bethlehem, notoriously a team that has given up goals inside of the first 30 minutes this season. They've been much better at home with regards to that stat, but earlier on there was a statistic that was about the 7 of 11 goals that they gave up at the beginning of the season were all in the first 30 minutes. So getting off to a good start is something that Brendan Burke has been keen on for the second third of the season as we enter the final third and really the business portion of this 2017 campaign. As here's some nice movement from Bethlehem. Epps was trying to go through the defender there, but stuck up very well.
Yeah, nice defensive play for Boskovic to really stop any kind of momentum that Bethlehem had there. Bethlehem, again, you look at the first 19 minutes of this game, definitely the better of the two teams, but they're making mistakes that you wouldn't want them or expect them to make, and I think that's the difference between getting early goals and this thing still being scoreless.
Here's Boskovic striding forward. He was looking to just chip McGuire, but Jake McGuire up to the task, and we are into the 20th minute of play. Still no score between these two Eastern Conference side. Tyler Terrence along with Bruce Silverman. Glad to have you with us. Bethlehem Steel with 3 points tonight would move into 6th place in the Eastern Conference after FC Cincinnati got absolutely walloped by Louisville City last night, 5-0 in front of a record crowd at Slugger Field in Kentucky. 5 different goal scorers for James O'Connor's side, and FC Cincinnati dropping the game, but they might have another game in sights on Tuesday night at Nippert, U.S. Cup semi-final against New York Red Bulls as they rested a number of players. Here's Cory Burke driving towards the byline. He got pushed over, but Kevin Broadley not interested in telling Cory Burke to get up.
Yeah, I think he probably tried to sell that one a little bit more than he should have. But it really, the bigger problem that I have with this play is not what happened with him, but what happened to the pass to him. It was not in the right spot, so he had to run basically towards the corner rather than towards the goal. Being led towards the goal means a shot on goal. Being led towards the corner means goal kick.
McGuire off of his line.
Bethlehem just needs a little bit more of a sense of urgency. They're a little complacent with letting Toronto let them dictate the pace, but you see right here, they're not hard charging until that flag goes up, and then they're charging too hard.
Nanko called offside there as the AR had his flag up on the far side. Chris Nanko again with the equalizer against Ottawa FC this past weekend after a dramatic 2-1 win over that Canadian side. They're looking to do the double over the Eastern Conference Canadian contingencies this weekend.
Two obviously very different Canadian sides. Ottawa, very experienced club. And with Toronto, we talked about it. Trying to get that rhythm when the 18 is very different from game to game is one of the reasons why this club only has 13 goals on the season.
Bad giveaway there from TFC2. Now Adam Najim, the New Jersey native, off to the races. He's got Nanko running with him. Along for Nanko. Chris Nanko trying to square it back for Marcus Epps, but he could not find him. Perhaps maybe that was Derek Jones who was the trailer, and now TFC2 looking to counter the other way.
Yeah, nice counter. We'll get back to what happened with Bethlehem in a minute. Toronto trying to stay on the ball. Two defenders have to lay it out, but a great counter by Toronto. There's a wasted opportunity because the shot from distance isn't going to make it. A ball that gets to the striker could be dangerous, but good opportunity for Toronto. Now going back to what happened earlier, Nanko on the left wing had an opportunity to take a shot on goal, and he was unselfish. Sometimes if you're going to be a goal scorer, you got to be selfish, and that was one of the reasons that Nanko should have kept it himself.
Still very young, Chris Nanko, only a rookie. Does have 3 goals on the season, has really become part of this potent attacking front for Brendan Burke, which usually features the likes of Sekou Kone, who is available on the bench tonight. He missed last week's game against Ottawa due to undisclosed reasons and is available tonight, not in the starting 11, but the leading goal scorer and really the heart and soul of this Bethlehem side, along with James Chambers.
Yeah, 7 goals and 2 assists sitting on the bench right now. And you got to figure that he'll factor into this game at some point. Like I said, I would suspect sometime after the 60th minute. But again, I keep going back to it. Bethlehem has had the chances. And they're having their way at least into that final third. And then there's a breakdown. And the breakdown, for the most part, has not been because of great defense by Toronto. It's been more because of mistakes like that. Now, granted, that's in the middle third, not in the final third. But when you're moving the ball at will, and then you go long distance like that and just put it past the touch line, to me, it's a lack of discipline.
Well, it seems as if they're going for sort of that home run ball. I mean, that was a ball that was bouncing for Adam Najim that he was trying to send first time all the way over for Marcus Epps. But Bethlehem on the move once more here. Cory Burke, he's going to unleash from long range, but that's just wide of the near post.
And I don't know why Burke's doing that, because he's got Nanko running onside. Push the ball forward. Let Nanko get in closer, or dish it over for Nanko and then give Nanko an opportunity to either take the rip, or you had more teammates on the right flank. It's a lack of vision at that point.
Berg trying to bring it down. Oksavic stepping forward. Good tackle in the middle of the park from Ken Tribbett.
Stand-up defense is what you like to see in the middle of the pitch. And now Nanko with another opportunity here.
Nanko linking up with Cory Burke. Great footwork. And that certainly has to be a foul. The referee is saying advantage here. And Matt Real wasn't able to pick out one of his comrades in the middle of the box, and TFC2 will come away unscathed. And it's always interesting when the referee says play on and plays the advantage, but that appeared to not be an advantage for Bethlehem Steel. That would have been a great free kick opportunity.
Yeah, we're going to take another look at it here, and I don't see where the advantage is. The ball was rolling towards the corner, and there was really no play that came immediately afterwards. Broadley, who kept the whistle from blowing but also kept the card in, and I think both of them should have been given.
McCrary, early delivery, looking for Andrews, who teed it up. Oh, it was a great idea, but sends it over the bar. Akeem Andrews going for glory there.
Yeah, and the problem with Andrews on this is he almost had too much time to get the shot off. You look at how much he waited on it. It's like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. By the time the ball got to him, I think he was licking his chops, and he was so excited to take a shot that instead of driving it into the ground, which was the higher percentage shot and the one that would have kept the play alive if it didn't result in a goal, ends up just skying it past the line.
Meanwhile, on the other end, Bethlehem possibly looking for the first goal of the game. Epps trying to get it across to Burke, but there's a good defensive play in the middle of the park.
It almost looked like Burke lost his footing there as he was trying to plant that left foot to get the right foot into the ball, kind of tripped a little bit and then had no play whatsoever on it.
Bethlehem still in dangerous territory here. Real over for Najib. Ken Tribbett. Derek Jones finding the youngster Cory Burke, just muscling off the defender. Burke going for goal, blocked in front, still with Jones. Bethlehem being very patient here as Real tried to squeeze it through, and then a late challenge from Matt Real, and TFC2 are asking for a card, and they are going to get one. And now shoves being tossed either way from McCrary and Matt Real. And as you mentioned earlier, Bruce, when the card stayed in the pocket initially, when McCrary got taken down, you said it had the potential to get out of hand. And we might have just seen the first instance of that, as Real now being shown mustard here in the 28th minute.
Yeah, and there's been a couple of opportunities in this game where Broadley could have gone to his pocket, and now McCrary should be shown a card as well for the retaliation, and he will be. And that's a good job by the referee. Question of the day becomes now in the 28th minute, was it too late to go to the pocket? Have you already let the game become too loose? Now you try to reel it back in. It's almost like, we're talking about back to school, and we'll get to this thought in a second as we look at exactly what happened.
Sort of looked like Real's momentum was just carrying him that way, and James was just caught on the wrong end of a tackle.
Yeah, and sometimes on a play like that, you can actually blame James more than you can blame Real on that one, because Real was almost standing straight up. It was James who was coming in hard charging. But, when I look at refereeing, it's kind of like, we're about ready to go back to school. And you have different types of teachers. You've got some teachers that are known as being real, hard teachers, and they don't allow their students anything. But those are the teachers that had the reputation of being hard at the beginning of the year. That way they know that their students are going to be disciplined, that their classrooms are going to be disciplined. As the year goes on, they start to loosen the reins a little bit, because they know if the kids get out of control, they can just pull them back in. And that's the way I kind of look at referees. There are referees that don't let anything happen early and the game stays clean, but when it starts to get out of control, there's no way to pull them back in if you're loose at the beginning. So referees and teachers, basically the same thing. And I think if you talk to most coaches, they would rather have more discipline at the beginning than at the end, because this is what we start to see.
Well, now it's more jostling between the same two who we just saw a few moments ago, Real and McCrary, and now Trusty coming to the aid of Real, trying to explain to head referee Kevin Broadley that it was McCrary who initiated the contact. And now Broadley with a lot of work to do here. Real already on a yellow card, and this could certainly be disastrous for Bethlehem if we were to be shown a second, not even before the half-hour mark. And Broadley is probably going to have one more last conversation with Real, and he has to be on his last strike for the rest of the match.
Yeah, and also, you know, you got some players that are on the verge of being shown a card that will result in them not playing in the next game. And when games are starting to get out of control, like they are right now, he's going to start going to his pocket more and more because he's not going to put up with anything. And it could just be that wrong play by that guy that's sitting on 4 cards right now that ordinarily wouldn't be anything more than a whistle, or maybe not a whistle at all, where you're going to start to see color coming out of the pockets.
Bethlehem on the other end, moving very quickly in the shot on frame. Easy work for Cavaluso.
Yeah, and Epps does a nice job of carrying the ball in, but the problem with what Epps does when he decides to pull the trigger on the shot is he waits too long. He needs to get that shot off faster. Way too much time for the opposing keeper to wait on the shot. By the time Epps takes that shot, it's not as crisp as it should have been, and it doesn't have the angle that it could have had if he pulled the trigger even a second earlier.
Roberts stepping all the way forward, forcing TFC2 into a negative play. McCrary looking for the 1-2. Andrews trying to spin away from Trusty. And then the late challenge from Andrews, and Broadley telling Andrews just to settle down a little bit as Bethlehem player caught a little bit of a nasty end of Andrews' challenge, who comes over and shows some good sportsmanship here. So we've played a little bit more than a half an hour. Both teams have had a few half chances to their name, but nothing really has beckoned for goal. Andrews did have a good opportunity on the full volley a few moments ago, but sent it over the bar. And McGuire didn't have much work to do. Now here's Burke. Goes out wide for Epps. Austin Trusty. Trusty moving forward from the center back position.
This is about the most patience that we've seen Bethlehem have in the middle of the pitch. See what they do with this buildup, and it looks like they're going to go all the way back to the middle, go all the way back to Roberts before they rebuild this offense, which is good. They're not trying to force it, taking their time, pushing it forward.
Nanko slipping it through, and the flag is up on the far side.
Not sure about that one. I thought he was onside with that.
Well, he was getting held up initially. Be able to take another look here, and you can see Baksavic holding up Cory Burke, and you can see there maybe just an arm's length off.
Yeah, I'm still not sure about that one, especially because, look, if you're holding a guy back, that's card worthy right there, especially on a breakaway like that. For the AR to put the flag up, I can understand from that angle why, but I would have liked to have seen that play develop a little bit more. You know, if you're Toronto, you're liking the way that this game is progressing, because every time that Bethlehem brings the ball into the final third, you're shutting them down. You're taking away opportunities for them to score. If you're Bethlehem, really, you're liking your ability to move the ball down the pitch. It's the ability not to put it on frame.
Najim through for Nanko, showed a bit too much there.
Done. Excellent defense.
Excellent defending. The academy player, just 17 years of age, hasn't even signed a professional contract yet, showing great recovery pace.
And there, as I'm talking about it, is the example once again. Bethlehem getting that ball into the final third and not getting a shot on Cavaluso. If you can't challenge the keeper, you're not going to score. You don't score on opportunities that you don't take.
Now here's Burke. A little bit behind Ken Tribbett. Derek Jones. Nanko in some more space. He's been busy in the past few minutes, but gives that away, and now Telfer is on the move.
Yeah, that was just a lazy pass by Nanko. If you want to really push it out wide to bring it in, you got to put some zip on that ball. And if you're just going to push it out, you know, softly, you're going to see somebody step in front of it, and it's exactly what Toronto did.
Here's Here's James. Nenko gives him a little love tap in the back, and that is going to be a foul on Christopher Nenko.
Yeah, Nenko needs to be careful on something like that. It's far enough away that it's not really going to go to the pocket, but if there's a little bit more force on it, it gets to be something that Broadley needs to think about. But those are the types of things that you just don't need to foul for. To me, it's a silly foul. It is a 50-50 right there, and Bethlehem with an opportunity to get back on the ball. But Bethlehem needs to be careful because they were the ones that got the card first. Broadley is going to understand he needs to keep this game in control.
Najim moving forward again, trying to curl it around the defense for Burke. Burke going for goal. Cavaluso did well to cut off the angle. It did take a deflection, and it is going to be a corner for the home side.
Credit for Berg to actually catch up to that ball and even be able to get a shot on it. We're going to see it right here. Nice pass inside. Berg showing some speed. And you got Tainter, who actually was the one that put it past the line. But for him to catch up with it, you can see Berg has some skill in terms of speed. It's just a matter of being able to take advantage of it. It's the first time we've really seen Burke on the overall run. They go short on the corner.
Real to whip it in. It's a good ball. Burke was trying to knot it towards that near post, but just couldn't get it right. Disrupted just enough by who else? Julian Dunn, who's played a great match thus far.
And for Burke, great service inside, but you saw he headed it in the exact direction that he was looking. And that's the difficult thing about that. Very difficult to kind of flick it on when you're facing one direction and you want to flick it in the other direction. You've got to make an effort to move your head that way, and that's not what Burke did.
Well, I always thought one of the best skills to have as a striker is the ability to really have a strong header, and a header that you can put some pace behind from about 10 to 12 yards out, because that's where most crosses are coming, is, you know, in between that 6-yard box and the penalty spot. And if you have the ability, like Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best headers in the game, to be able to snap that header, it is such a vital weapon to have.
Yeah, but you don't have to go overseas to talk about a guy who's great at using his head. You can just look at FC Cincinnati and look at GB, who has more goals with his head than he does with the left foot or the right foot. And credit Cincinnati that they're able to service that way. But that's what really impresses me about GB as a player, is he is so dangerous. I mean, you talk about players having tools. And you know, you can play offense, you can play defense, you've got a good right foot or a left foot or a head, but there is a striker that can beat you head, left foot, right foot. I mean, probably if they kept stats on the chest, he could probably score from his chest as well. But that's what's made FC Cincinnati's run through the U.S. Open cut so impressive. I mean, you look at it, they played 5 games. They've scored 4 goals. He has all 4 of those goals.
And they haven't given up a goal either.
No.
Just a team that thrives on 1 or 2 opportunities, and GB at heart is an opportunist.
If there is a picture of a player who's a poacher, if you look in the dictionary and see poacher, GB's picture is there. But also, you know, credit on the complete opposite side for Mitch Hildebrandt and what he's been able to do in the pipes for Cincinnati during this run. And hopefully it will continue. It'd be great to see a second division club win the whole thing.
Real goes over the head of McCrary, still going forward. Real needs to be careful. He went in with a high foot there, showing some studs as well. No call from Kevin Broadley as Real continues to stir the pot.
Thought that was the best no call that Broadley has had all game long. Actually, both players, they're quite familiar with each other, and I don't think either one of them is going out to dinner with each other tonight. But that was both players going for a ball, studs up. I like the no call in that particular case. Again, these two guys aren't going to be friends. They're not going to get each other's addresses for Christmas cards or anything like that. But, you know, that's the type of play that you want to see, and that was a great no call by Broadley.
James moving it forward. Hundle Being harassed here by Austin Trusty, and Trusty just a bit too overzealous trying to win the ball back. And Bruce Ever palms up here.
Yeah, because look, your opponent is on the ground. There's no reason to push him farther into the ground, especially from that spot, because this is a beautiful place for Toronto to have a set piece in the 40th minute. James will whip it in with that right foot. He's got two options on this one. He can go right at it and challenge Maguire, or he can put it up in the air, get one of his teammates to make a run on the ball, use their head and put it in the back of the net. And driving it into the 18 as low as he did, although Toronto's still on the ball, to me, not the best use of an opportunity late in the first half.
Not the best delivery we've seen from Brian James this evening so far as we continue to approach the halftime whistle. Again, Tyler Terrence along with Bruce Silverman. 3 points for Bethlehem means 6th place in the Eastern Conference as they look to possibly host a playoff match this year. And certainly they've come a long way from last season when they had a epic collapse towards the end of the season. They just needed 3 points in their last 6 or 7 games or so, and they weren't able to come away with it, and they missed the playoffs by 1 spot, finishing in 9th. And Brendan Burke, in our conversation with him earlier in the week, said that the Ottawa game was really a telltale sign that this was a different side than last season. After getting walloped by Charlotte, they came back and with the utmost of gut and grit got that 2-1 win on the road. And that was a sign for Brendan Burke that this was a team that looked very different, and now they have a very good look at goal here in the 42nd.
Barbasol is down, and we're going to see this set piece coming up, and you got Aaron Jones who will back away from the ball. So it'll be someone else for Bethlehem that will come over and start us up on this set piece. Another great opportunity late in the match. And you look at Toronto, and it's going to be Real who will take this one. But I look at Toronto, and it's a story of getting down to the final third and then not taking chances on Maguire. See what happens with Real. Nice ball in.
Looking for Berg. It's knotted away as Jones is still fighting for it. James was trying to get rid of it towards the other end. Takes a deflection off Nanko and will stay in Toronto territory. Back for Nanko. Finding Najim in plenty of space. Najim linking up with Derek Jones. The back heel for Najim. Oh, it's beautiful. Najim going for goal. It's off the post. Roberts can't get there. And there's an offside flag up on the far side. Oh, it was mesmerizing football. Bruce Silverman has his hands on his head, and I'm sure Najim does as well.
Oh, this is fantastic. Take a look at the way this buildup happened. This back heel pass right there is brilliant. And then here is credit Toronto with some absolutely outstanding defense. Najim was trying to get that ball to the right foot. By the time he does, gets off a clean shot between 2 defenders, and the best defender on the pitch for Toronto is that right post.
Best moment of the match for either team thus far. Najim hitting woodwork in the 43rd minute. Bethlehem possibly looking for that breakthrough still. Epps was trying to squeeze it through for Najim. Bethlehem making pleas for handball. They're not going to get it. And now TFC 2. Bethlehem having numbers committed forward. They're looking for a counter. It's through for Hundle, but a great sliding challenge from number 42, Hugh Roberts.
Yeah, good defense on both sides of the pitch tonight. And it's really been the defense that's been more of the story than the offense on both sides of this one. And so far, I guess the most valuable player for Toronto FC has been the Bethlehem steal of the post that's sitting next to Cavaluso.
There's a jostle on the ground there, and I was surprised that the referee even ended up going to his whistle, but it is a foul against Bethlehem.
Yeah, and Toronto's going to send everybody forward. I'd actually like to see them keep the ball short. They're not going to do it. But I would have liked to have seen, instead of going to that 50-50 and seeing them give up the ball in the 45th minute, I would have liked to have seen them go short and build up an opportunity to get something on Maguire, because they have not challenged Maguire at all. They've gotten to that final third, but Maguire almost doesn't need to be there at this point, except for, of course, kicking it away. But in terms of actually having to make any saves or being challenged. Toronto, and you could see why Toronto has only scored 13 goals.
Well, Bethlehem looking for their first goal of the game. Nanko showing a bit too much. He actually got a ball to the face there. And then McCrary doing well to shield off Matt Real, as we are going to have 1 minute of stoppage time added on to the allotted 45 here at Goodman Stadium.
Yeah, Nanko is going to be disappointed that he didn't do a better job of controlling the ball and dribbling it with his feet inside the box. He let it get a little too far away from him, gave too much space for the defender to come up and take it away. Otherwise, he's one-on-one with the keeper, and with a skill set that Nanko has, you got to think that this might have been a 1-0 game moments before going into the dressing room.
James along for Hundle. Hundle going for goal, but he just completely fanned on it. And McGuire able to collect. Hundle, I'm sure he's going to want that one back, as that was a good opportunity right before the half to maybe get a breakthrough for the visitors.
Yeah, Dan Patrick on SportsCenter would have said the whiff. Missed Dan Patrick on SportsCenter. McGuire sending it well down the pitch and handled. Opportunity for Bethlehem.
Burke moving forward. Working on Andrews here. Najim trying to return for Burke, but good defensive position there from McCrary as he just shielded off Cory Burke, and that's give and go defending 101.
Yeah, McCrary doing a great job of just using his body to shield any opportunity that Burke would have had. That's going to do it for the first half. This is a first half that I'm kind of surprised we didn't see goals from Bethlehem during. Bethlehem had the opportunities, but the breakdowns when they got towards the 18 were evident. They need to fix that. Toronto just needs to play with more confidence on that final third of theirs.
Nothing to write home about just yet. 0-0 between Bethlehem and Toronto. This is the best chance of the first 45 minutes. Najim hitting woodwork, but could not find the back of the net. We'll be back in just a few moments with highlights and stats.
In search. Berg put it home, and the Union lead.
Once upon a time, it was just me, Marge, and the internet.
But then came Manny and Marky, Margaret, Midge, Marcy.
Marcy, then Midge.
Oh, yes. And then Mikey, Miley, and finally, little Marie.
That's when we noticed things started to slow down.
You mean the internet?
Yeah, the internet started to slow down because we were all connecting devices.
I'm pregnant.
We need a faster internet.
Get 150 meg internet from Service Electric with enough bandwidth to power all your family's devices. Call today.
The first soccer ball was kicked in Bethlehem in 1904. Now, 112 years later, it's time for the rebirth of Bethlehem Steel FC. Herbert's in the box, and there's the first goal in Steel FC history. For tickets, visit BethlehemSteelFC.com or call 844-STEEL-FC.
It can happen over time or in a snap. If joint or muscle pain has taken you out of the game, we can identify the root cause of your problem and develop a sport-specific treatment plan to get you moving again. Over 400 medical experts strong, the region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
0-0 here at the half between Bethlehem and Toronto FC2. Adam Najim hitting woodwork just before the half, and other than that, just a few half chances as we're moving right along through the halftime show. This month, Bethlehem Steel FC is hosting a back-to-school drive to help children throughout the Lehigh Valley have the vital tools in order to have a strong start for the year ahead. This week, the team, with the help of Guardian Life Insurance, decided to join in the back-to-school drive with a supply run of their own.
Hey Steel FC fans, as you already know, we're hosting a back-to-school drive to help children throughout Lehigh Valley be prepared for a fun year ahead. With everyone pitching in, we decided that we need to roll into it.
We're doing middle school and high school, right? First start, pencil pouch. Alright. Blue or black ballpoint pens.
We're shopping for grades 4 and 5, pencil case, ballpoint pens.
We got
wooden
this.
pencils. Okay.
Let's go. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Pencils right here.
We need notebooks. We need notebooks.
Three for the girls.
Traffic jam.
For yourself?
For me? For movie when I was a kid.
And tissues.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that came out when we were like 16.
Well, we've got the gears and a lot of fun doing it too. Let's see. We got backpacks. Some pencils.
Definitely need more wood and pencils.
And a lot more. Plus, some things for the teachers.
Before we head out, we would like to say thank you to the Guardian Life Insurance for their donation to help fund this shopping trip. Your donation has inspired us, and we hope this makes more people in the Lehigh Valley join our Bethlehem Steel FC Back to School drive. We can't wait to see all the other donations that our fans and friends bring to our upcoming home games. Thank you.
Supporters wanting to help Bethlehem Steel FC with their back-to-school drive can do so by bringing their new school supplies to the Steel FC office located at 44 East Broad Street, Suite 135 in Bethlehem, Monday through Friday between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Fans can also bring their donations to Steel FC's home match next Sunday, August 20th. All fans donating will receive tickets to a 2017 Steel FC home match.
I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to savethefood.com.
The USL has expanded its soccer reach this week, announcing 2 new expansion franchises. Birmingham, Alabama has been announced as the first expansion franchise to join the league in 2019.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct pleasure on behalf of the USL to welcome Birmingham into the USL for the 2019 season.
Currently known as USL Birmingham, the franchise will announce their official name, crest, and venue at a later date. The team is set to build on the strong foundation of support built by local fans.
You know, Magic City Brigade, you guys have been amazing for us. We can't say thank you enough for your unwavering support. Without fans, we're not standing here. And so thank you guys. I really do appreciate that.
More information and advanced ticket sales can be found at uslbirmingham.com. Las Vegas will be the 3rd and final club to join the league for the 2018 season.
This is our team collectively that we are going to make into the best professional soccer team that we can. And I can't be more proud to be part of all of you and to bring professional soccer to Las Vegas.
The club will call Cashman Field in downtown Las Vegas home, and the name is up to the fans. Visit vegasprosoccer.com through Monday, August 28th to cast your vote. Las Vegas will join the league in 2018, and Birmingham, Alabama will begin play in the 2019 season. For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Hey,
Guys, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing.
I was very independent, thought I could take care of myself. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels.
After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak.
Meals on Wheels, coming to my door as someone who's housebound, having someone check on me, assures me that I'm not forgotten.
Meals on Wheels has given me a mode of freedom that I wouldn't have otherwise.
We're the clients.
We are the clients.
We are the clients of Meals on Wheels.
America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Halftime here at Goodman Stadium on the campus of Lehigh University as the Bethlehem Steel and Toronto FC2 are tied at 0-0. Tyler Terrence along with Bruce Silverman. A relatively entertaining first half as both teams had a couple of half chances. Adam Najim striking woodwork just before the halftime whistle, and we'll take a look at some of the best moments from the first half, Bruce, and right away Bethlehem got off to a hot start. It looked like they might find a breakthrough.
Yeah, they had a lot of opportunities to get into the final third. It was just a matter of getting it on frame, and you talked about the woodwork once. We'll get there. But that was it for Bethlehem. We saw chances like this and trips like this throughout the first half, but they were wasted opportunities.
And then this was a big moment here as Real crashes with the TFC2 defender, and then Jordan McCrary coming to his comrade's aid, and the two of them would end up getting yellow cards. Real and McCrary both showed yellow cards right around the midway point in the first half, so those two will be careful heading into future challenges.
Yeah, we probably talked about the referee broadly, probably more than you would like to talk about a referee. Corner coming up on this opportunity as Berg did a nice job of getting to the ball, showing his speed, but then was really unable to put anything on frame. And then you had the corner coming up, and this is probably the play of the match so far.
Adam Najim, you see here, striking woodwork, and Hugh Roberts would be called offside, so the play would be blown dead, but this is just great imagination in the attacking third.
Yeah, to me, it's that back heel pass like Derek Jones that is really the play of the match so far. It's not even the shot off the iron. It really is Derek Jones and what he's able to do. And, wow, that's about as pretty as you're going to get right there. And it's the only reason that it's probably not more beautiful is that it didn't result in a goal. If it resulted in a goal, it would have been an unbelievable play. And there, the possession right there at 60-40 doesn't surprise me in the least bit. What I am concerned about if I'm Bethlehem Steel is looking at that 3 offside, because those are just wasted opportunities. And the shots we know, I'm not even sure if Toronto really got 3 shots, certainly on target. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way. I mean, that's very technical speak. I mean, you know, that's very technical speak for wasted opportunities. For Bethlehem, when I look at this game, it's really a matter of getting sharper and having more of a sense of urgency when they get to the final third. For Toronto, the build-up's been good, but then the breakdown on their choices of going at Maguire. They need to make Maguire work.
Both teams still looking for a breakthrough as we are approaching second half. Kickoff will be back in just a few moments. 0-0 at halftime here.
When one person chooses paperless billing, they make a small difference in the environment. But when a lot of customers go paperless, well, I think you get the idea. I can't see the forest for the trees.
When you sign up for Service Electric's paperless billing,
The environment wins, and you do too. Choose whatever method works for you. It's fast, free, and easy. Contact Service Electric to sign up.
It can happen over time or in a snap. If joint or muscle pain has taken you out of the game, we can identify the root cause of your problem and develop a sport-specific treatment plan to get you moving again. Over 400 medical experts strong, the region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
Can you feel it? That vibe. It's here on America's best beaches. Feel it in unique mashups of amazing, crazy, and wow. So within every moment, you live amplified. St. Pete Clearwater, solar powered and radiating 1,000,000 megawatts of possibility. Dive in deeper at liveamplified.com.
Golf season has arrived. The Clubhouse Grill and Bethlehem Golf Club have teamed up with Service Electric TV for a chance to win a day at the golf course and lunch at the Clubhouse Grill. Go to our sectv.com website, click on the link, and like us on Facebook. You'll be entered to win a golf foursome plus carts and a $100 gift card to enjoy at the Clubhouse Grill afterwards. This promotion runs through August 15th, so like us and enter today. Service Electric, the Clubhouse Grill, and Bethlehem Golf Club, teaming up to bring you the best summer ever.
Approaching second half kickoff here at Goodman Stadium on the campus of Lehigh University. Bethlehem Steel and Toronto FC locked at 0-0. Tyler Terrence along with Bruce Silverman. And now we'll take a look at some other things going around the United Soccer League. Jorge Herrera, the man who simply just gets better with age. He has been spectacular for Charlotte, who actually had their unbeaten match streak snapped by Ottawa last night, 3-1 in favor of the Canadian side. Obviously, Las Vegas joining Nashville and Fresno for the 2018 season. And FC Cincinnati, Bruce, obviously they took down your Miami FC in the quarterfinals, but a big night for the USL and for U.S. Soccer on Tuesday.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I mean, FC Cincinnati has just had such a magical season, not just in U.S. Open Cup, but the USL as well. The crowds have been a big part of the story of this franchise. You know, obviously a franchise that's looking to make the move to MLS. That decision will be made a little bit later down the road. But FC Cincinnati, for me, great story. Love to see what they can do in this match against the Red Bulls and see what happens with GB. We talked about him in the first half. The man is dangerous with his feet as well as with his head, and the fact that that game is sold out, I think, is outstanding. Look, great for U.S. soccer. You know, there's great stories from the first division all the way down. Second division, right now we don't have a third division, fourth division and lower. And so that when you have these great stories about these teams that are competitive and they're drawing well and the play is good, that's what's great for the game of soccer in the United States. And for this game to grow, and grow in the direction that it is going, and in gaining popularity and support. And to me, soccer IQ. Fans are becoming more intelligent, not just about the game of soccer, but the game of soccer in the United States. And that is what the U.S. Open Cup, for me, is all about.
Absolutely. FC Cincinnati taking on New York Red Bulls Tuesday at Nippert. A sold-out crowd, as Bruce mentioned. That'll be an 8 p.m. kickoff as we are underway for the second half here at Goodman Stadium. And right off the bat, Matt Real is fouled, and he continues to be in the mix of all sorts of altercations away from the ball. Real sitting on a yellow card, as well as Jordan McCrary.
Yeah, and you got to wonder at what point does Real maybe find his way out of this match. Most managers don't want to take their defenders out, but when you have a physical one and he's sitting on a yellow, and he has since the 27th minute, you have to wonder, do you want to risk going down a man in a 0-0 game?
Well, we also mentioned before during the first half that Cory Burke and Sekou Kone, who did not start and is not on the field just yet, have to imagine that we'll see him at some point in the near future, are both sitting on yellow card accumulation. One more card and they will be suspended for the game against Charlotte if that card is to come tonight. So Cory Burke has to be careful. He already put in a nasty challenge in the first 5 minutes, but Bethlehem still looking for their first breakthrough as it comes for Epps, but Epps not able to wrap his foot around it, and it'll be a goal kick for Cavaluso.
We saw something very similar to what Epps just did, and I think it might have been the very first trip down for Bethlehem. Ball gets to the side, the pass goes to get centered, and it doesn't even find the area of play. To me, I keep going back to it, and it might be a broken record by the time this match is over, but, you know, vinyl is back, so it's a
Says
whole
who?
No, it's back. The vinyl sales are up and turntable sales are up. No, but going back to my broken record, Bethlehem is making their way down the pitch. They're getting into that final third very easily, but then they break down. They're making Toronto's back line look very, very good because of the lack of execution to get the ball on frame.
TFC2 moving forward with great authority here. Brian James looking for an avenue. Sends it along the byline. McCrary into the box. It's a good ball. Andrews with the snap header, and it just goes wide. That was probably the best move we've seen from start to finish from TFC2.
Absolutely fantastic, and Andrews is going to have nightmares tonight because he tried to do too much with that. If he had just gone with the direction the ball was coming to him, would have been right on frame. The fact that he tried to flick it in a certain direction is the reason why he missed.
And look at the pace from Cory Burke, squaring it back across. Najim and Julian Dunn to the rescue again.
Yeah, Dunn, fantastic job to put his body in front of that shot, but probably the best ball movement we've seen from Bethlehem in quite some time to center and at least get that shot off. Here comes a counter. Except for an unbelievable defensive play by Tribbett.
Now for Derek Jones. Over the top for Cory Burke, but Cavaluso off of his line. But how about the pace from Cory Burke on the near side, just absolutely blazing down the right flank. And we'll take another look at that TFC2 opportunity here, and the one that you said Andrews is going to want to have back.
Yeah, just tried to do too much with it. He got the ball in the right spot, and then he, instead of driving it home, tried to flick it. And here you see Dunn just being in the right place at the right time for the guys in white.
Here's Hundle. Good ball towards the back post. Waiting for it is McCrary. Leaves it off for Andrews. Andrews towards the back post. Aaron Jones is there. Not a full clearance. Tribbett helping it along.
And now Toronto right back on the ball because Bethlehem not doing a good job of changing in transition.
Real center along for Chris Nanko. Working on the youngster Julian Dunn. Nanko tripped up, and it is going to be a foul on Dunn. And Bruce, you're shaking your head. Maybe a dive?
No, I don't think it was a dive at all. I think it was more Nanko just losing his footing than there really being a play on his body, at least from the angle that we had from this camera. Maybe we see something a little bit different on the replay. Yeah, I don't see any contact. I don't see any foul there at all.
How good has Julian Dunn been tonight? Just 17 years old, an academy player, has not signed a professional contract yet. He's from Ontario originally, and he has just put in a superb shift thus far as Nanko is getting some medical treatment. And it's great to see that a youngster like Julian Dunn sort of has some of those intangibles in terms of defensive positioning and being in the right place at the right time already in his arsenal.
Yeah, a great sense of maturity at a young age to be able to play defense and be so aware of where the ball is and where he needs to put his body. And you see Chris Nanko is getting, I don't know really if you're going to call this medical attention. I think they're changing his contacts. You know, maybe going with the ones that offer more shade when it gets sunny. I don't even know if they even make contacts that
well, it looks like he might have gotten a cut. You know, I would give him some credit here.
They pointed to his eyes, so I thought maybe he lost the contact, and they weren't looking for it. It's not like when you're in the bathroom and you're trying to put your contacts in and it falls on the sink and you're like going, where is it, and do I want to put it back in my eye? 51st minute, we're still in a yellow card for Dunn on that. Okay, I'm not the man with the whistle.
Yellow card for Julian Dunn here in the 52nd minute, so the center back will have to be wary heading into future challenges as TFC2 moving up the pitch here after a Bethlehem giveaway.
Yeah, I still have still questioning that one because I didn't see contact at all. Would have been nice to have seen a different camera angle, maybe one down the line, but obviously not available. And now pace is a little frantic, and that touch a little too heavy. Toronto back on the ball.
We've rarely heard Ryan Telfer's name tonight, as he has sort of been a ghost on this left side of the field. Obviously flip-flopped from the first half, but he's somebody that TFC2 really needs to get involved if they want to have a chance on the offensive end. Although Brian James has done a good job, as well as Andrews as the target in the middle, but that final ball as well as the finish hasn't been there for Toronto, as well as Brendan Burke's side, who, you know, obviously haven't put in a goal yet, as we're still locked up at 0-0 here at Goodman Stadium. And this is a massive match for Bethlehem, 3 points, and they'll be able to leapfrog FC Cincinnati, as well as get in a point of 5th place and move into 6th as James brings this down with a deft touch.
Yeah, nice job to pull up the brakes and slow it down, let his teammates get with him, but he's unable to get that shot, but he does earn a corner for his club. Now, this is a situation I think Toronto, hopefully when they got into in the dressing room, addressed. They have had a couple of corner chances, but they haven't taken advantage of them. This is going to swing away from the goal. It'd be great to see a Toronto player make a charge at a high rising ball, and that driven.
Dunn is actually the one who gets there, and Maguire able to collect, but Julian Dunn not only getting it done on the defensive side of the ball as well as the offensive.
And somebody had gotten a touch on his jersey, a tug on his jersey actually, not in the sight line of Broadley. Had it been, could have been a man on the spot, because Broadley at this point is not going to allow any physical play in the second half that's not going to come associated with a color.
Burke has to go backwards for Aaron Jones as the English native brings it down for Hugh Roberts. Roberts certainly loves to get involved in the attack when called upon. Leaves it off for Tribbett. And here's Marcus Epps. Epps working on Baksavic, driving towards the byline, sends it across, spilled by Cavaluso. And Cory Burke came in sliding late, and Cavaluso is livid with the Jamaican.
But this is why you take shots on the goalkeeper, because unless he gets a save, there's a rebound opportunity, and that's exactly what Burke was looking at. Epps goes to the touchline. That ball squirts away. Hey, Burke's allowed to play the ball.
And Cory Burke now being issued a yellow card, and 2 rather questionable yellow cards now from Kevin Broadley, as Julian Dunn gets one for what appeared to be no contact on Chris Nanko a few moments ago. And Cory Burke, like you said, Bruce, I think he had every right to go for that ball, considering Cavaluso spilled it.
And I actually think that he probably made a play on the ball before Cavaluso even had control of the ball. The fact that he got his hands on Cavaluso's on the ground. But I think those 2 yellow cards that we've seen just in the last 5 minutes are a result of Broadley not having control of this game from the opening whistle.
Tainter has to go all the way back as Najim is in hot pursuit. Brought down beautifully by Malik Johnson. Malik Johnson off to the races, has a couple options. Still Johnson going for the curler, and it's just wide of Maguire and the post. He had a couple of options darting towards the mouth of the goal, and he chose to go for a goal, much similar to that Cory Burke chance early in the first half.
Yeah, Johnson carrying it through, took his chances, thought he had the far post, but it just didn't curl back for him. In hindsight, and it's easy when you're sitting and you have the ability to look at a monitor, it's the concern that I have for Johnson is not having the vision to see how many white shirts were around him.
Another chance goes by the wayside for not only Toronto, but as well as Bethlehem, who have yet to find a breakthrough. Matt Real striding forward. Leaves it off for Nanko. Been quiet here in the opening moments of the second half. Najim, the return for Nanko. Nanko brought down. Kevin Broadley not interested.
Very interesting to see what the referee is going to blow the whistle for and what he's not going to blow the whistle for. But I think he's going to blow for that one, and I think, yeah.
And that's the second one, or no, excuse me. Originally thought that was Matt Real. That's the first yellow card for Ken Tribbett, as he brings down Liam Frazier, who just took a very clever touch to get around Tribbett and had no choice but to wrap up the center midfielder for Jason Bent.
5 cards have already been handed out. At this point, probably might have to find another place to write everybody's name. You know, that book is not all that big, but we've got 5 players in it. 3 for Bethlehem, 2 for Toronto.
Jake McGuire off of his line, as he hasn't had all that much work to do in the opening 57 minutes or so. Toronto FC have yet to really challenge the 22-year-old. So this one is sent forward for Burke, who obviously has great speed, but Fraser with a cool head goes back to Cavaluso.
Yeah, Burke has that speed, and we really have only seen Bethlehem take advantage of it one time in this match. If you have that type of skill set, you want to go at it. You want to really exploit it, and they just haven't done it. And to me, what's interesting is we really haven't seen Burke called offside because of speed. Maybe because he was leaning, but not because he was outrunning the ball.
Good movement here from Bethlehem. Tribbett goes out wide for Nanko, leaving it off for Najim. Back for the Canadian Nanko. Bends in a ball, looking for Berg, lining up the volley. Oh, it's a spectacular finish from the Jamaican. And in his first game as a captain for Bethlehem, leading by example, it's 1-0 to Bethlehem.
Yeah, this is about as well as you can draw it up. And Cory Burke timing it perfectly and driving it home. Outstanding service by Nanko. Even better finish by Cory Burke. And that is what, if you're Toronto, you are worried about. Letting Bethlehem hang around and then right outside of the 6, banging it home.
Well, in the absence of Sekou Kone, who missed last week's game and not in the starting 11 tonight, Bethlehem had to have somebody step up in their attacking front, and none other than Cory Burke onto the scene here in the 60th minute and getting a huge goal for Bethlehem, which could be vital in terms of the Eastern Conference standings. As it stands at the moment, Bethlehem will move into 6th place if the score holds.
Yeah, this was what Toronto didn't want to happen. They're playing a good game, and now another transition for Bethlehem.
Berg was trying to get around Fernanco, but lost his footing here at Goodman Stadium.
Yeah, we're at the 60th minute. Toronto playing well enough to earn a point in this match, and Bethlehem not taking advantage of chances that they had until Nanko hooks up with Burke. 59th minute. It's a 1-0 match. Now Bethlehem can start making chances to be even, or making changes to be even more efficient on offense. And Toronto, which has not made any real threat to Jake McGuire, has to wonder, did we squander an opportunity for a point here?
And now we're going to have our first substitution of the match, as it's going to be the hero of Bethlehem's last game. That was up in North Country of Canada against Ottawa FC. Santi Moar, who had the game winner in the 81st minute, is going to replace Marcus Epps, who put in a pretty solid shift tonight. So an hour's worth of work for Marcus Epps. Santi Moar will get half an hour, and Brendan Burke certainly applauding number 20 Marcus Epps for a very good day at the office.
Yeah, I like Brendan Burke and his fashion sense. It's quite hot and quite humid in Pennsylvania tonight, but still wearing the long sleeve shirt and the tie. He came dressed for business, and his team has been very business-like. When I look at Bethlehem tonight, they look like a squad that carries a lunch pail. They're very much living up to their surroundings. They have been very like tonight. They just have been a little inefficient at the final third. Certainly not the case in the 59th minute, but they have had opportunities throughout this match. You can make an argument that they were a little bit crisper in finishing. This could be a 3-4-5-0 match. You know, certainly that ball off the woodwork in the first half was an opportunity to break it open before the break, and now with Bethlehem up 1-0, I think this is enough because we haven't seen from Toronto the ability to really take advantage of chances.
Well, Najim continues to take advantage of open space as Toronto FC2 have really allowed him a lot of time on the ball, and he is the maestro in the middle for Berg, as he is just a great distributor of the football. Tribbett linking up with Najim now. Back for Derek Jones. Bethlehem in tight quarters here. Santi Moar getting his first touch. Moar trying to squeeze his way through two defenders. Matt Real ends up picking it up towards the byline, sends it across, but a little bit too high for the 5'6" Krasnenko.
Love that decision to center the ball. The only difference is, or the only problem with it is, if a guy's 5'6", he better have some serious hops to get up. And for Krasnenko, he's probably happy that he didn't get his head on that one because that was driven on a rope.
Matt Real always getting involved in the attack, and as the outside back position becomes more and more a part of the modern day game in terms of the attacking side of the ball, Matt Real really epitomizes what a modern day fullback should look like. Strong, big, obviously a very good 1v1 defender, but extremely technical and capable of whipping in great delivery. Matt Real is all of those things and is going to be a great pickup for Wake Forest and the Demon Deacons in a couple weeks, as that's where he's going to play his college ball, as that is out of bounds, and it will be a throw-in for TFC2.
Yeah, you talk about Wake Forest. They've done well with sending products to MLS. You got a guy named Mike LaHood who played in Philadelphia previously, and out of Wake Forest, so he will be a good addition there. And not only that, if you can play at the level that he's played here, Division II soccer, professional soccer, and then you can go off and play Division I NCAA soccer, you got to think that you've got a leg up on your competition. Got a feeling that he might just be the starting left fullback for the Deacons.
At the very least. And now Cory Burke on the move once again, slipping it through. Jones, oh, and it's right into the chest of Cavaluso. It was a lightning quick counter, and I'm sure Jones is going to want to have that one back.
That was the second sharpest trip into the final third that Steele has had tonight. The first one being the one that they scored on. That one was probably almost more impressive. It was just nice job by Cavaluso to make sure that it did not find the back of the net.
Well, Cory Burke, who's the goal scorer on the night, was trying to play the distributor role there, as he was able to find a streaking Derek Jones, but now TFC2 looking to get back into it, as Andrews sees his cross blocked by Santi Moar.
Yeah, Burke with his third goal on the season, he has an assist. Would have been a nice way to balance out his night to have 1-1.
McCrary can't get a foot to it, and Real cleans it up, as we have a little bit more than 25 minutes remaining, plus stoppage time here at Goodman Stadium on the campus of Lehigh University. Again, Tyler Terrens along with Bruce Silverman.
Yeah, I have to wonder at what point does Toronto start to make the substitutions to try to bring in a little bit more offensive firepower. We made mention beginning of the match and throughout the match they've got 13 goals, but 8 of them are on the bench. So if they can bring in some goal scorers to go with the ball movement that they've had, that's gotten at least 2/3 of the way through, then maybe they challenge McGuire. It's not like Bethlehem has run away with this game. It's only 1-0, and a mistake by Steele or a very good play by Toronto to finish, and all of a sudden it's a 1-1 game.
TFC2 have been involved in a lot of 0-0, 1-1 draws this season so far. They have 8 clean sheets. Obviously not going to get one this evening, as Jones is taken down right outside of the box. And it is going to be a yellow card to boot.
Was that handed to McCrary?
And if it was handed to McCrary, that should be his second yellow card. Couldn't get a good look as to who Kevin Broadley was issuing the yellow card to. But either way, it's a very dangerous set-piece opportunity now for Bethlehem.
Yeah, this ball is sitting on the 18.25 yard line.
And it was Brian James, actually, who ended up getting the yellow card. That could have easily been McCrary or James, as both of them were probably guilty of committing the foul. We'll take another look at it. Oh, and it was blatantly Brian James.
Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com.
Aaron Jones will be taking this one. Right foot from a very interesting angle. Opportunity to make it 2-0.
Jones going for goal, and Cavaluso able to hang on to it.
No argument with going right at it, but a ball a little bit higher in the air with an ability to get a teammate running on it on that far post, and it is a good chance at 2-0.
And I apologize earlier, folks. Matt Real signed a contract in January that is going to see him stay with Bethlehem, so he's going to forego his college playing career with Wake Forest. He was initially committed to the Demon Deacons, and like we've seen a number of times throughout the United Soccer League, some players just choosing to stay in the professional route and forego their collegiate experiences. Cory Burke getting on the end of this one, going for goal. He was looking for two, and he honestly had a little bit of sting behind it, but just over the crossbar.
Yeah, that ball kind of rised up on him a little bit more before he was able to pull the trigger, which is the reason why the shot was high. If the ball had stayed down a little bit more, this very easily could have been 2-0. Look at the numbers and the build-up here.
Santi Moar just a little anxious trying to get there, as we'll take another look at that chance from Cory Burke.
Another great ball by Real, and Burke just caught it on the rise. It was almost like that strange hop when you're playing tennis and you're trying to just trap the ball and can't quite control it, and same thing that happened with that. Difference is obviously a tennis net is a little bit lower than a soccer net, but nonetheless the same type of situation. In Toronto, they need to kind of settle down. They're still only down 1-0. Opportunity here to build things up.
McCrary into the box, bringing it down. The shot from James just pulled wide, but TFC2 starting to find a rhythm a little bit here as Bethlehem have become a bit more defensive here.
But the vision needs to be there. The ball is in the mouth of the 18, and Telfer is sitting in the corner of that tee and is unable to really do anything. And so we've got a substitution right now as Andrews is checking out.
Substitution for Toronto exiting the game, number 43.
And it is going to be Trebelli checking in and replacing Andrews. So the first substitution made by Jason Bentonite comes in the 70th minute as TFC2 continue to rotate and try to keep fresh legs after a midweek match against Charlotte, which again was a 2-2 draw against the beasts of the Eastern Conference at the moment.
Substitution in the 70th minute.
So that substitution, the 70th, and a little bit later than I thought Toronto was going to make a move, but good opportunity for them, fresh legs up top, and another opportunity as they take the ball into the final third.
McCrary on the move once more, trying to break through. He's taken down, and it's going to be a penalty. And Jordan McCrary with a few words for Matt Real to boot. Either way, it's going to be a penalty for TFC2, and it could not have come at a worse time for Bethlehem, who are just moments after taking the lead.
Yeah, a lot of comments right now, but that ball, you know, McCrary doing a great job, and then we're seeing some pushing and shoving right now. Trusty and Johnson having conversations, and
Broadley now breaking out the magic spray to tell players to stay behind the line as he has a conversation with the assistant referee. And you might see a yellow card issued here to McCrary, as the assistant referee was right there as McCrary had a number of words for Real, who was down on the ground.
No, I think what they were doing was having a conversation to confirm that the infraction took place inside the box, in which that is the decision. And you know what? I'm very, very happy that the referee would go and have this conversation. Very, very close to that line. Make sure you get it right. Putting a guy on the spot is a difference maker in any match. and might as well have the conversation, get the call correctly, and now you have an opportunity for Tainter to tie this game less than 20 minutes to go.
Almost looked like Real was trying to take a charge in basketball. He was just trying to stand up McCrary, but Kevin Broadley pointing towards the spot, and now a big opportunity here for TFC2 to pull level. And if this ball does go in the back of the net, you might see the likes of James Chambers or Sekou Kone entering the match, as I'm sure Bethlehem will want more than just a point at home against a team that is well towards the bottom of the Eastern Conference table.
Yeah, McCrary and Real been battling all night long. No love lost there. Tainter now 36 feet away from drawing this game at 1-1.
Tainter, and he buries it. Big conversion from Tainter, and TFC2 are level. It's 1-1 here at Goodman.
Yeah, excellent job of just going right at it, and the captain makes Real pay for his decision to put McCrary down. He found his angle, kept it on the ground the entire time. Tough for McGuire, who guessed the right way to get there. That ball had nice pace, never left the grass. 1-1, 72nd minute.
What a turn of events here on the campus of Lehigh University as TFC2 now draw level with Bethlehem. And now a tall task for Brendan Berg's side to find another late game winner, as they certainly expended a lot of energy in Canada last week getting the game winner, Saint-Imoir, with the heroics in the 81st. Do they have more magic left up their sleeve?
You know, and for Burke, he needs to look at his club and say, what kind of opportunities did we waste throughout this match? We've been the better of the two teams on this pitch, but we haven't been able to finish when we've had the opportunities, bar the one that happened in the 59th minute when Burke broke the game open. But credit for Toronto for not putting their head down and continue to push forward. That was a great move into the 18, into that final third. McCrary getting the better of Real, as he has probably throughout this match. Real was the one at the 27th minute that picked up the yellow card, and then McCrary got one right afterwards because of the retaliation. Now, you know, you have to look at McCrary gets the better of that one because now it's 1-1.
Nanko towards the back post, but Cavaluso, easy work for him as he's looking to spark a counterattack the other way. Great distribution as he's looking to find Strabelli in stride, and he's able to keep it in play.
And Strabelli doing a great job of tracking that ball down, making sure that Toronto stays on the attack.
Out wide for McCrary. Plenty of space. Delivers it on the ground. And coming to the rescue is Austin Trusty.
Yeah, I think that that was kind of misstruck by McCrary, and Trusty was able to clear it out. I think that ball was intended to be much higher. Didn't happen. McCrary will have the throw. But McCrary's showing some great speed to track that ball down.
Towards the middle, and McGuire able to hang on to that one. A little more than 15 minutes remaining. Bethlehem looking for 3 points that would give them 6th place in the Eastern Conference after FC Cincinnati failed to pick up points at Louisville last night. And that ball out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in for TFC2. As frustration starting to mount here for Bethlehem.
And look, football matches are a lot like chess matches. You know, there's ebbs and flows, and when you're the better team, but you're not winning the game, you can get frustrated. And this is what we're seeing right now. That is a cynical foul. That is a frustrated foul. And now you've got Jones who's questioning and saying, hey, it wasn't me. I didn't have a problem. You know, don't blow the whistle on me. And because of the mouth, you get the book.
Kevin Broadley going to his pocket once more, as that is now the 6th yellow card issued on the night. This time to Derek Jones, as he has shown mustard here in the 77th minute, and another opportunity here for TFC2. And like you said, all game, Bruce, they've just hung around, kept it at either a 0-0 game or a 1-goal game, and now here they are with an opportunity to take the lead.
Look, if you only have 4 wins on the season, you've only scored 13 goals, now 14. If you can hang around, you can get points. And shame on Bethlehem Steel for letting a team like Toronto come into their building and hang out.
Tainter finding Johnson. Johnson squeezing his way through. It's a loose ball in the box as Derek Jones gets there and clears it away, but not a full clearance by any means, and TFC2 will keep possession.
Yeah, all that TFC2 has to do at this point is continue to play the football that they're playing right now. I mean, even when you can't stay on your feet, you're staying on the ball. And what we're seeing is a frustrated Bethlehem losing their composure. And if you lose your composure, you can end up losing a game.
Hundle trying to spin away from Trusty. Last touch off of Austin Trusty, and it will be a corner for TFC2 as Bethlehem have been under an immense amount of pressure after the Tainter goal.
Yeah, momentum is definitely swung. Another substitution coming up here as Derek Jones and his recent yellow card will exit the game here in the 78th minute.
And it's going to be James Chambers, the normal captain for this squad, to come onto the scene here in the 78th. And if they need a spark, and if anybody's going to give it to him, it's obviously going to be either Chambers or Kone. And now the question asks, when are we going to see Sekou Kone?
Well, and this is substitution for Burke that happens for 2 reasons. One, the leadership that Chambers is going to bring when his team is starting to lose their way.
This corner driven in. Hundle actually got a nice touch to it, just trying to help it along.
The other thing about Chambers coming into the match is that he does bring firepower. 4 goals already on the season. And when a game is ticking away and you're kind of losing your way, you want to bring in a goal scorer.
Chambers, somebody who just brings a calmness to the middle of the park for Brendan Berg. The heartbeat of this side, as he describes him. James moving forward. Nobody's stepping to him. He was looking to slip it through for Hundle, but cut out by Ken Tribbett. And now Tribbett tripped up in the middle of the park. Bethlehem electing to play quickly. Broadley's going to let them. Nanko slipping it through for Burke. Cory Burke, he's in on goal. He's tripped up. Is it going to be a penalty? Yes, it will.
And speed kills. And that was all Burke.
And now it's the 2nd yellow card of the game for Julian Dunn. Probably didn't deserve the first, but certainly deserves the 2nd one here as Julian Dunn is sent off. And in a matter of moments, it has really turned for the worse for TFC2.
Yeah, Dunn, who was a victim of a bad call in the 51st minute. Certainly, there's no reason for this. I see what he's trying to do. But you know, in a game like this, where there's been so many whistles and there have been so many cards, if you're going to bump a guy like that in the box, he's going to the spot. And that was all Burke, Cory Burke, showing the speed and showing the ability to get to the ball. And here's Chambers looking for his 5th goal of the season.
Chambers, a man who's been very reliable from the spot, and he buries it. Bethlehem Steel take the lead, and it's through that man, James Chambers. His 5th goal of the season comes onto the scene here as a sub and makes good on it. 2-1 to Bethlehem.
Nothing like coming into the match and 2 minutes later being able to score a goal on a PK. But that's what you get for being the captain. Cavaluso guessing the wrong way, and Chambers just making him pay for it. A look from behind. 2-1 in that goal in the 80th minute, or officially in the 81st minute. So Chambers, man, it's a good night's work. 2 minutes, 1 goal, up by a goal, momentum shifting, and that is what a manager like Berg does. That is what makes a manager, when you know the right move to make to calm your team down when things aren't quite going your way, that just 5-10 seconds that it took for Chambers to come in settled this team down. They also knew, hey, you know, our captain is here.
Well, Burke certainly looks like a genius after the move as Cory Burke is on the move trying to keep this in play. Great speeds to do so, but couldn't quite keep his footing. He ends up coming back inbounds, getting the ball back, and it looks like we're going to have a foul called against Burke, but it looked for all in the world that the defender might have just lost his footing as well, Baskovic. But either way, great pace from Cory Burke yet again. And as you mentioned earlier, Bruce, just an efficiency rating off the chart for the Irishman, James Chambers, coming on here.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit easier to have a great efficiency rating when you score a goal on a PK after you come in versus in the run of play. But a goal is a goal is a goal. And in Chambers, again, to me, it's not so much that Chambers scored the goal, but that Brendan Burke brought him in and settled his team down at a moment where the game was really starting to get away from Steele.
Well, Bethlehem in back-to-back games finding a potential game winner in the 81st. We'll obviously have to wait to see if that holds up, but it would certainly be an interesting storyline as Saint-Amour got the 81st minute game winner against Ottawa last week, and now Chambers' PK comes in the 81st as well, as they'll be looking to hang on or possibly add an insurance goal as Real trying to bully his way through.
Yeah, Real does a great job of getting the ball, but then tries to do too much about 40 yards down the pitch and loses the handle.
Telfer back for Serbal.
The whole idea is to get the ball and keep the ball, not get the ball and try to do too much.
Telfer's service over the head of Hundle, and easy work for Jake Maguire.
Yeah, Maguire, who really hasn't been called into much duty tonight. Most action he got was on that PK that got past him. And you start to wonder how this game is going to finish up, especially because Toronto now playing with 10 men.
Ahead for Burke once more. Berg makes it 3. Nope, it's going to be offside. Goal is called back as Cory Burke was a step offside there, and the AR on the near side had his flag up.
Burke made me look good earlier, proves a point now with the fact that speed can kill and that he'd been able to control his speed earlier in the match. There, when he's on an all-out sprint, he gets a little bit too far ahead.
Hundle in some space. Goes out wide for McCrary. Maguire off of his line. McCrary goes for power, but it always is going over the bar.
That ball again rising up on the leg, and by the time he was able to get a strike on it, here's a look at that offside. Yep. Just about a step.
Still a very cool finish from Burke as well. Cavaluso, for all intents and purposes, was playing as if it was onside, and Burke's still able to finish it. But it remains 2-1 for Bethlehem, and we're going to have another substitution from Jason Bent. And it is going to be number 51, Ricardo John, coming on to replace Malik Johnson.
Yeah, so that's the second substitution for Toronto tonight, and you know, we talked about it. They really had all the momentum going their way until Chambers checked in the 78th minute, and then with Dunn being sent to the showers in the 80th minute, last 5 minutes, yeah, it's interesting. You start to reflect on the last 5 minutes, and although this is now a 2-1 match, Toronto still seems to be moving the ball as efficiently as they did before Chambers came in. And don't forget, they're down a man.
Telfer trying to find Ricardo John, who just checked into the game. Chambers with a neat little chip to find Nenko and keep it in play, and Bethlehem just trying to see this one out, send it all the way down towards Angelo Cavaluso. A little bit more than 5 minutes remaining plus stoppage time here at Goodman Stadium. James Chambers breaking the deadlock just a few moments ago from the penalty spot after Cory Burke was taken down by Julian Dunn, who seemingly got his second yellow card of the match. And that goes back to that cheap yellow card that he got against Chris Nenko. You know, when refs hand out yellow cards, they obviously have an impact on the game, as Brendan Burke is going to make his final substitution of the night, and it is going to be Joseph Samuel coming on here.
Yeah, Samuel will check in. for
Adam Najim.
And what's interesting about that is with Samuel coming in, he's coming in for one of the few guys for Bethlehem that doesn't have a card tonight.
So Adam Najim gets a nice round of applause from the crowd here at Goodman Stadium as he put in a very solid shift, was very clever on the ball, intuitive, imaginative, and was certainly an orchestrator for Brendan Berg's attacking front tonight. And now Josef Samuel gets an opportunity to help close this one out at home and get 3 points that could see Bethlehem leapfrog FC Cincinnati into 6th place.
Now, we had talked earlier in the match that Bethlehem had a player that was sitting on 4 cards, and that is
both Cory Burke, Sekou Kone, and Austin Trusty, all with another yellow card, would miss the next match. And the 2 of them who are on the field at the moment will remain on the field for the rest of the match.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, as Boskovic put Nanko to the ground, you have to wonder, will that be a decision that Burke will regret? Because if you're going to lift anybody and you're up by a goal, do you lift somebody who already is sitting on a card tonight, or, you know, doesn't have a card but is sitting on accumulation, you know, down the road? So this is interesting, the way this match is going to end up. For Toronto, they need to keep pressing, try to get that equalizer, and for Bethlehem, they just need to control the ball. They don't even need another goal at this point. So to take trips into the final third and not control the ball actually does them a disservice.
TFC2 in control here, if not for good pressure from Samuel. Moar bringing it down for the substitute.
And now's where they just need to start playing catch. Instead of letting the ball pinball around, they need to just find some space and play catch.
Just like that, Josef Samuel, a couple of step overs, trying to get around McCrary. Moar finding Nanko. Chambers asking for it, but it goes through to Aaron Jones.
But now what you're seeing is Toronto playing down a man and what Bethlehem can do with that man advantage.
Trusty along the sideline, and Tainter up for a strong header, and we're getting word now that the 4th official has announced for 4 minutes of stoppage time, so still plenty of time for TFC2 to try to find an equalizer, albeit down a man, as Samuel gets fouled by McCrary, who's already on a yellow card, and now an opportunity for Bethlehem to really just take their time and set up the set piece.
Set piece opportunity over from a interesting angle nonetheless. 90th minute. And you see Toronto make one more substitution. You can see how buggy it is in the Lehigh Valley area.
And it's Dante Campbell coming on here in the 90th minute. So one more roll of the dice for Jason Benton here to try and get a point, as Campbell replaces McCrary, who was sitting on a yellow card and was probably very close to getting his second, given all the antics that he's been involved in tonight.
Yeah, he put in a yeoman's effort throughout this evening, and you see Toronto doing their best to stay in this match.
Hundle fending off a couple of Bethlehem defenders, still has it. It's poked out of bounds, and it'll stay with TFC2. Knocking on the door late here in stoppage time. Tainter sends the ball in. Roberts lets it run through, and Jake McGuire able to collect it and fall on top of it. And time certainly on Brendan Burke's side now.
Yeah, Toronto just moving the ball a little bit too quickly towards McGuire. Want to stay on the ball because you've got to possess it. You're down a man. You are in the final third. You're down a goal. Every opportunity has to count. Very low percentage shot from way downtown. Bethlehem will take their time and decide that they're going to throw it in, and who's going to throw it in.
It is going to be Santi Moar, the hero from last week's win over Ottawa. Josef Samuel letting it run through. Still Samuel lining up the shot. Easy work for Cavaluso.
Toronto with an opportunity to counter here. Just need to be patient. Chambers held them up just a little bit.
That allowed Aaron Jones to come over and put in a crunching tackle. Bethlehem a little stretched at the moment as Cory Burke was on the wrong side of Tainter. Now back on the right side, but Tainter giving that ball away. And now plenty of room to run for Bethlehem into this feet of Nanko. Chris Nanko still on top of it. Nanko going for goal in the far post, and he's got number 3 for Bethlehem. And that surely seals all 3 points for the home side now. Chris Nanko, Johnny on the spot for Bethlehem. It's 3-1 to the home side.
What patience by Chris Nanko to just carry the ball as far as he could. When he finally decides to pull the trigger, he's past both defenders and he's got the angle. Cavaluso comes off of his line, but he doesn't come off enough to cut the angle. See, he's only 2 or 3 steps off. If he's farther out, maybe he's able to make a play on the ball, but all the credit in the world for Nanko, who's been kind of opportunistic throughout the evening, but hasn't been able to find the back of the net, does all the work himself in getting past 2 defenders to find the angle.
His second goal in 2 matches, scoring the equalizer up in Canada against Ottawa last week, and now putting the finishing touches on this one. And this will give Bethlehem all 3 points and position number 6 in the Eastern Conference table.
And that's with a couple of games in hand as well. If I'm Toronto, I'm looking at this match and saying, you know what? We did a lot of things right. We had fight. We didn't give up. We never put our heads down. Another opportunity here.
Comes across the middle as Austin Trusty got a foot to it. Bethlehem still looking for more as TFC2 are really stretched trying to get back into this match. And they could be in danger of giving up a 4th. Santi Moar on the move. Still Moar towards the byline, but cut off nicely by Tainter.
Yeah, Moar, who's trying to do everything himself like he's Chris Nanko, really needed to service that ball into the middle and give it to a teammate. And credit Toronto, down a man, still pushing forward, trying to pick up another one.
Telfer around Jones, going for the curler, and ended up hitting Hugh Roberts in the back.
If I'm Bethlehem, I'll take the 3 points, but I don't know that I'm incredibly happy with the effort.
Well, is it the effort or the wire-to-wire performance?
No, I really think that it might be the effort because they were very good for 2/3 of the pitch. When they got into the final third, things broke down. It's hard to make that comment that things broke down in the final third when you look at a match that was 3-1, but it was 0-0 at the end of 45 plus 3, or 45 plus 1. And for me, that one moment where Bethlehem lost their composure, and it took their manager making a substitution, bringing in their heartbeat, bringing in Chambers to slow things down. That, to me, was the critical moment. You look at this match, it wasn't so much about the players on the pitch. It was that one moment where Burke went to his bench and made the right substitution at the right time to settle his team down.
Well, it was certainly a great decision from Burke to bring on Chambers, who ends up getting the game winner. Cory Burke was phenomenal in this match as well. And there you see the game winner from James Chambers from the penalty spot. And then Chris Nanko with the cherry on top. Bethlehem 3, Toronto 1. We'll be back in a few moments with stats and highlights.
You've lived with it for too long. That recurring joint or muscle pain that makes everyday tasks a strain and repetitive movement
almost impossible. Why put it off? The sooner you seek treatment, the more options you'll have. The faster you'll be back in full stride. The latest non-surgical solutions. The region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
A satellite signal comes from outer space. The satellite office across the country. And their call center? We'd better not even go there. So if you want to do business in your hometown with people you know and trust, call Cable.
Did you know that Service Electric's founder invented cable TV in 1948? And the company is still family-owned and operated right here in the Lehigh Valley. Service Electric, first in the nation, 3 generations strong.
The first soccer ball was kicked in Bethlehem in 1904. Now, 112 years later, it's time for the rebirth of Bethlehem Steel FC. Herbert's in the box, and there's the first goal in Steel FC history. For tickets, visit BethlehemSteelFC.com or call 844-STEEL-FC.
Full time here at Goodman Stadium as Bethlehem Steel FC put in 2 goals in the last 10 minutes and come away with all 3 points by way of a 3-1 result. Tyler Terrence along with Bruce Silverman, and what a night it was here on the campus of Lehigh University. We'll take a look at some of the best moments from these 90 minutes, and Bethlehem starting things off with a great goal from Cory Burke.
Yeah, Berg, who had been knocking on the door, also Nanko, and we'll get to him later. But Burke, who has blazing speed, just gets a perfect service, times it perfectly, drives it into the ground. We saw a lot of guys trying to play volleys and putting them over the net. This one in the back of the net.
However, this would change everything here right around the 76th minute as McCrary would do well to beat Matt Real and then draw the penalty.
Yeah, and this is what resulted, obviously, in the one and only goal for Toronto. Cooley puts it in the back of the net. And things were going Toronto's way at this point after that goal. And just unfortunately, after Tainer puts it in, they run up against a very good Toronto manager who makes the right decision a minute before this penalty right here to bring Chambers in. And what does Chambers do? A minute after he enters the game, he gets the ball in his hands. Dunn says goodnight. Chambers, back of the net.
James Chambers with his 5th goal of the season. Certainly not used to coming off the bench for Brendan Burke, but when his number is called upon, he always delivers for this side. And Cooley burying the penalty, sending Cavaluso the wrong way, and then Julian Dunn being sent off. And that's what really changed the match, Bruce. We were just talking about it during the break.
Yes.
Even after Bethlehem scored, you just had a sense that TFC had no way back into the game, being down a man, and now this is what happens.
Yeah, they only have a back line of 2. They only started with a back line of 3, and Nanko takes advantage of that and almost saw another goal late in the match because of that back line of 2, but a great individual effort by Nanko to find the space and drive it home. But that is set up because they're up a man.
Chris Nanko with a goal and an assist on the night, his 2nd goal in as many games, and sealing this one for Bethlehem. And now a live look at the standings here. Bethlehem Steel jumping into 6th place and leapfrogging FC Cincinnati with those 3 points. And we mentioned before, Bruce, they have a couple games in hand as well. If you're able to get 6 points out of these next 2 matches, or even 4, you're in a very good spot to possibly host a game down the road.
Yeah, they're in a position, especially with the opportunities they have as the season goes on, to get into that top 4 spot. You see they've got 21 games. Lou City in the best position with 20 games and 38 points. But Charleston, you just take a look at that 3rd spot right there. Charleston, 23 points. If Bethlehem can go and get 2 more wins in the next 2 games, they leapfrog Charleston, and it is a much different Eastern Conference than it is right now.
Well, Bethlehem's next match is going to be against Charlotte on ESPN3 this Wednesday. But this match here tonight was spectacular. Cory Burke was great. And again, Charlotte Independence will take on Bethlehem Steel August 16th on ESPN3. TFC2 will be at the Richmond Kickers. It was a spectacular night of football in the Lehigh Valley. And for our fantastic crew, my broadcast partner, Bruce Silverman, I'm Tyler Terrence saying so long for now. The final score from Goodman, Bethlehem 3, TFC 1.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.
Bethlehem.